Hello, everyone. My name is Kate Stewart, and today I'm going to be giving a TED Talk on habits and rewards. So, for so many years, I've heard the phrase humans are creatures of habit. Usually, it comes about when one may be facing a moment of change in their life that they're fearful for, or when one is experiencing a frustrating disruption to their daily routine. Because as creatures of habit, we know that anything that interrupts our daily routine can be extremely distressing. However, today I'm going to tell you guys how we can take advantage of our natural instinct to construct habits to help pursue our own personal goals and desires. So, let me give you guys a quick definition of habits. Essentially, habits are automatic responses that are enacted when one is placed in the same environment in which they usually perform an action. So first, I want to start by explaining a shocking study that examined how habits are associated with the environment and setting. Participants were examined for their strength of their habit of eating popcorn in the movie theaters, and then each participant was instructed to watch a movie in the theater. And each participant was placed in one of two conditions. The first being they received fresh popcorn, and the second, they received 7-day-old stale popcorn. And researchers found that those in the fresh popcorn condition ate the same amount of popcorn, whether they had a high or low or moderate habit of eating popcorn. However, in the stale habit of eating in the stale popcorn condition, researchers found that participants who had a high habit of eating popcorn ate significantly more popcorn than those who had a low or moderate habit of eating popcorn. And this study shows the extreme and unconscious influence habits hold over our behavior, because people with a strong habit of eating popcorn in a movie theater, the act of eating popcorn is behavior that they're so accustomed to that they continue to eat popcorn that is stale and doesn't taste good just because it's something their habits make them do unconsciously. So in a similar vein to the popcorn study, Gala and Ducksworth take a positive spin on habits to see how the automatic behavioral responses enforced by habits can be used in goal pursuit efforts. So in their study, they examined how individuals may not have to use such effortful inhibition or self-control, but rather can rely on habits to make progress towards their goals. So participants in the study started by completing a multitude of self-report surveys that measured their general levels of self-control, healthy eating habits, and exercise habits. And then the researchers measured how much effortful inhibition each participant had to enact in order to exercise and eat healthily. And then they determined how strong or weak a participant's habits were based on how automatic their engagement in the habit was. And so in the study, they found that those who have stronger habits do not have to enact as much self-control or effortful inhibition to engage in tasks because it's just their automatic response. And so people with strong habits of eating healthy and exercising have essentially built a lifestyle for themselves where they don't even experience temptations to act outside of these habits, because their behavior has become so automatic and unconscious. So most people believe that goal pursuit is completely volitional and requires active self-control. However, this study supports the contrary. If one's habits are geared towards achieving goals, the actions that need to take place to achieve those goals become automatic and unconscious rather than so effortful and exhausting. So if habits can make goal pursuit so effortless, you might ask, how can I successfully form habits in my own life? One key trick to forming habits is making them immediately rewarding. So let's talk about rewards. The act of incentivizing actions is actually pretty controversial because in some cases, rewards can be extremely detrimental to goal pursuit and motivation. An example of this is in Sam Glucksberg's candle experiment. Participants in the study were given matches and thumbtacks placed in a box and one candle. And they were told to attach the candle to the wall so the wax wouldn't drip on the table. And half of the participants were given the incentive of money, while the other half were given no incentive. And in this scenario, Glucksberg found that those in the incentive condition actually took 3.5 minutes longer to overcome what he calls the concept of functional fixedness, and realized that the box in this scenario is not just a container, but can be used to hold the candle on the wall. However, in a follow-up experiment, everything was the same in this experiment, except the thumbtacks were presented outside of the box. And Glucksberg found that in this experiment, those with the incentive completed the task significantly faster than those in the non-incentivized group, which is the opposite of the previous scenario. And this shows that for tasks that require a broad focus and on complex solutions, like the original candle problem, incentives actually dull thinking and block creativity by narrowing focus too much. However, for tasks with a simple set of rules and a clear solution, like the second study with the thumbtacks outside of the box, incentives that narrow focus are actually beneficial. So the study shows that although for tasks that require complex cognitive skills, rewards are actually demotivating and result in poor performance. But for tasks that are highly mechanical and boring and potentially boring, rewards actually increase motivation and improve performance. So we can take this, since many actions associated with habits can be boring and mechanical or repetitive, rewards can be a really effective method of forming and strengthening habits. And then this is to show the successful way to complete the candle experiment. So to support the idea previously stated, I have another study to show that directly in this study they directly examined how habits become automatic through rewards, repetition, and a stable environment. So in this study, participants took a survey that assessed their level of engagement in a multitude of different behaviors, such as exercise and hand washing. And then researchers analyzed whether the factors of rewards, repetition, and a stable environment were associated with the automaticity of the behavior. And in this study, they found that all three of these factors were actually predicted the automaticity of each behavior. However, it found that rewards were particularly associated with high habit strengths. So the study supports the understanding that for mundane mechanical tasks like hand washing or activities that one might not find intrinsically motivating or interesting, like exercise, rewards can increase habit strength by increasing motivation to perform the task again in the future to receive that reward. And then to really hammer down the impact of rewards on habit formation, I have another study to share. So this study examined how rewards can accelerate the process of habit formation. All participants in this study did not previously have the habit of flossing or taking vitamin C, and they were a part of a flossing intervention. And then the final 80 participants received a vitamin C intervention. So the reward measures for flossing were how pleasurable the participants found the activity, while for the reward construct for vitamin C was also pleasure, along with intrinsic motivation, how important flossing was to them, and perceived utility and perceived benefits of engaging in the activity. And the results of this study showed that pleasure and intrinsic motivation were positively related to automaticity of flossing and taking vitamin C, and resulted in strong habit formation. The results of this study further support that rewards are beneficial in strengthening habits and making them automatic, especially when tasks are inherently uninteresting or mundane and boring, like flossing and taking vitamin C. So through these studies, we can see that habits are extremely beneficial for goal pursuit success as they transform the necessary goal pursuit actions from effortful into automatic and unconscious responses to stimuli. And furthermore, these studies support rewards are an effective medium of habit formation as well as habit strengthening that we can use to construct habits that relate to our own goal pursuit and desires. Thank you so much.